Wait, you mean to tell me that the biggest festival on the planet, celebrated by over 2 billion people, isn't even what we think it is? Yeah, you heard that right. Christmas, December 25th, the whole Santa Claus thing, the trees, the gifts, none of it is actually what they told you. And honestly, the truth is way darker and way more interesting than any holiday movie you've ever watched. See, what if I told you that December 25th isn't even mentioned in the Bible? Not once. What if I told you that Christmas trees weren't started by Christians at all, but by pagans? And get this, the Christmas we celebrate today, it's only about 150 years old in its current form. So yeah, buckle up, because what you're about to hear is going to flip everything you thought you knew about Christmas completely upside down. Alright, so before we go any deeper, do me a favor real quick, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you're going to want to stick around for this channel because we dig into the stuff nobody else wants to talk about. The real history, the hidden stories, the truth that got buried under centuries of tradition and corporate marketing. So yeah, subscribe. Let's get into it. Now, let's rewind about 2,000 years. Picture this, ancient Rome, December, the darkest, coldest, most brutal time of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. Days are super short, nights are insanely long, freezing temperatures and no electricity, no heating, nothing. Just survival mode. Back then, people weren't sure if the sun would even come back. Like, genuinely. They were terrified that winter would just keep going forever. Food was scarce, survival was tough, and hope was running out. But then, something magical happened. December 21st or 22nd, the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year. And right after that, the days started getting longer again. The sun stayed out a little more each day. Light was returning, and people went absolutely crazy celebrating this. Egyptians, Persians, Greeks, Romans, Norse tribes, Celtics, everyone had some kind of festival around this time. It wasn't just paganism or whatever, it was survival, it was hope, it was life literally coming back. Now here's where it gets wild. The Romans had this massive festival called Saturnalia. It honored Saturn, their god of agriculture, time, and harvest, and honestly, Saturnalia was like the ultimate party week. It ran from December 17th all the way to December 25th, a full week of chaos, and I mean that in the best way possible. People exchanged gifts, families gathered together, homes were decorated with candles and greenery, schools closed, courts closed, work totally shut down. Oh, and here's the craziest part. Masters actually served their slaves during Saturnalia, like the whole social order flipped upside down for a week. Wild, right? Now, does any of this sound familiar to you? Gift exchanges, family gatherings, decorating homes, a week off work. Yeah, that's literally Christmas. Same vibes, same activities. Coincidence? Absolutely not. This is straight up transformation. One festival slowly morphing into another over centuries. The worship of the sun god becoming the celebration of the Son of God. So, here's the million-dollar question. If December 25th isn't actually Jesus' birthday, then where did this date even come from? And look, the honest answer, we don't know Jesus' actual birth date. Like, we genuinely don't. The Bible, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, they mention the birth, sure, but not a single one gives us a date, not one. Some early scholars, like Clement of Alexandria, who lived around 150 to 215 AD, suggested dates like May 20th, but December 25th never came up. There's this guy, Herbert W. Armstrong, a 20th century theologian, who wrote a book called The Plain Truth About Christmas. He points to Luke 2:8, which mentions shepherds staying out in the fields all night when Jesus was born. Now here's the thing, if you know anything about Bethlehem's weather in late December, you know it's freezing cold, like no way shepherds are staying outside all night in that weather. So most likely Jesus was born in the warmer months, spring or fall, not winter, definitely not December 25th. Even the 1911 edition of the Catholic Encyclopedia flat out admits that Christmas was never the most important Christian festival early on. That honor went to Easter. and they openly say that the Feast of Christmas was influenced by Egyptian traditions. So, if December 25th wasn't Jesus' birthday, then why do we celebrate Christmas on that day? And here's the main reason. Christianity strategically adopted December 25th because it was already a huge pagan festival. Saturnalia, winter solstice, all that stuff. By placing Christmas on the same day, it made it way easier to convert pagans to Christianity. You're already partying on this day? Cool, now you're celebrating Jesus instead of Saturn. Boom, conversion made easy. And here's the kicker. Christmas wasn't even properly celebrated until 336 AD. That's over 300 years after Jesus' time. For 3 centuries, early Christians didn't celebrate Christmas at all. Now, let's fast forward to the Christmas we know today. Santa Claus, Christmas trees, Rudolph, Frosty, all the commercialized stuff. That's actually super recent, like 150 years recent. The Christmas tree tradition started by German pagans, not Christians. Santa Claus, a mix of St. Nicholas, Coca-Cola marketing, and centuries of folklore. The modern Christmas we celebrate, with all the shopping, the decorations, the massive consumer spending, over $1.3 trillion in the US, that's basically a product of the 19th and 20th centuries. It's been carefully crafted, marketed, and sold to us as this ancient, sacred tradition. But in reality, it's a blend of pagan festivals, early Christian adoption, medieval traditions, and modern capitalism all rolled into one massive global event. Now, here's where things get a bit more serious. And honestly, this is important to understand, especially if you're Muslim. In Islam, Jesus, Hazrat Isa A.S., holds an incredibly high status. The Quran has an entire chapter named after his mother, Surah Maryam. His miraculous birth to the Virgin Mary is fully accepted in Islam. Muslims love and respect Jesus as one of the greatest prophets of God. But, and this is a big but, there's a fundamental theological difference. Christianity celebrates Christmas not just as Jesus' birthday, but as the birth of the Son of God. They believe Jesus is God incarnate, part of the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Islam rejects this completely. In Islam, Jesus is a prophet and servant of Allah. He's not God's son. Allah has no children. Surah Al-Ikhlas makes this clear as day. Say, He is Allah, the One, Allah the Eternal. He neither begets nor is born. That's the core of Tawheed, the oneness of God. So when Muslims say Merry Christmas, they're not just wishing someone a happy birthday. They're indirectly participating in a celebration that contradicts the fundamental belief of Islamic monotheism. And that's why Islamic scholars generally advise against participating or celebrating other religious festivals. It's not about disrespect, it's about maintaining theological clarity and identity. Look, here's the bottom line. Christmas is a fascinating, layered, complex tradition with roots that go way deeper than most people realize. It's part pagan festival, part Christian adoption, part modern invention. And honestly, knowing the history doesn't take away from anyone's faith or celebration. If you're Christian and you celebrate Christmas, that's your right, and your faith has meaning and value. But if you're Muslim, or just someone who wants to understand the real story, it's important to know where all this came from. It's important to teach the next generation, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, the truth, not to hate or judge, but to understand their own identity and make informed decisions. So share this video, have these conversations, dig into history, because knowledge is power, and the truth is always worth knowing. All right, that's it from me. If you learned something new today, hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into history, faith, and the stuff they don't teach you in school. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and keep questioning everything. Peace.